It's a Wednesday. You're with Mansfield today. Thank you for joining us. And being a Wednesday, we talk medical matters. It's a little bit different today. Something we haven't touched on the medical show. Hello, Dr. Vicky.
Hello, Jeremy.
Now, I've known you for many, many years.
Yes.
And I never thought I'd ever sing this to you. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We are talking about sex, and we're joined by a sex and intimacy coach in the form of Caroline Webb, who joins us on Mansfield today. Caroline, thank you for taking time out to join us. This is so, as soon as you get onto sex, people think it's a taboo thing to talk about. Do we talk about sex enough?
No. First of all, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. I feel that sex is something that's so underrated, and I'm finding it difficult, or I'm very confused by why the fact that when people bring up sex in conversation, that especially South Africans, they have the shock horror moment. So I actually enjoy having those moments with people because I like to push the boundaries with people and take people outside of their comfort zone, because sex is such a natural thing and we should be engaging freely in it and be able to have open conversations around it without feeling shame.
When you say you're a sex and intimacy coach, I mean, what sort of coaching do you offer? Just out of interest, because I must admit I've never been to a sex and intimacy coach.
Haven't you?
Oh.
Well, maybe he should, so we can see what comes up and what stays down, right? Okay, so in most cases when people come to me, it's like sort of when they are just about at the end of a relationship and they're falling apart, and they think that sex is the thing that they're trying to hold on to rekindle them. But so when they come to me, they go, oh my God, we're just not having sex anymore. It was actually not the sex, but that's just the one thing that stands out like a sore thumb or like a soft willy. It's one of those things. And when people come to me, it's mainly because there's a lack of communication. And then what I do is I get them to rekindle things within their sexual experiences and their intimacy. Now, intimacy and sex are two different things. Intimacy can be cycling together, running together, sitting around a campfire together, but you must also still be able to communicate. And sex and everything else that comes with sexual intimacy, that will naturally just occur if you guys are on the same page. And I also touch base on people's love languages, because that also helps us determine how we are with each other sexually. Because some do gifting, some like touch, some people are very kinky, and others like to vibrate on an energetic level. So when people come to me, I help rekindle things, and it's about touching each other, making those moments last longer, and it's not just a wham bam situation where we engage sexually.
Do you find a lot of patients coming to you with sexually related problems?
What I see often, Caroline, is perimenopausal, or let's say postmenopausal women in their sort of mid-50s, and they often complain about loss of libido. If they never had sex again, it wouldn't worry them at all. I feel sorry for their husbands, but I mean, I almost understand how they feel. But how can you help those kind of patients? I mean, females, we're not all about what we see, I think. It's what we think in our mind. Can you help them?
Obviously, well, anyone can be helped. If you remember, you can give anyone the amount of tools, but if they don't use it, they're not going to get any further with what they've got. I actually had a situation where a lady was going through menopause, and I said to her, okay, well, that's great. Do you still want to have sex? Because that's the main thing. If you still want to have sex, you have to adapt your mind, because obviously your hormones are changing. In some cases, the libido drops. And then we would have to use lubes. We would have to perhaps try different positions, and you have to make a shift in your mind, because it doesn't mean because the vagina is running dry that you need to stop having sex. In this case, the lady said, just as you said now, if I never have to have sex again, that's also all right. But her husband made it very clear, if she does not put out, he's going to be sticking it in someone else. So I really tried to guide her and gave her the tools, as well as maybe try something new, like toys and so on. And she was just really not interested. So yes, there is hope. People that are menopausal can use different toys, different positions. It is definitely a mindset that has to happen.
I was going to raise that particular issue because it seems to be becoming more acceptable in a relationship to introduce toys. How important are toys in a relationship, a sexual relationship, an intimate one?
Right. So whether it's lesbians or whether it's man and woman, the one thing I always say to people is toys are not there to compete. Toys are there to enhance. When we are introducing toys into a relationship, it should not be viewed as the fact that you are inadequate or that you should be competing with the toy. It should be seen as an extra added value to the relationship, and that I'm actually, or those of us who say, let's try toys, we are saying, let's experiment as a couple together. Let's try new things. And I feel that everyone should be open to that, because this gives us the opportunity to understand what it is that we like, enjoy, and what we will accept and what we won't.
Tell me, Caroline, do you ever see people that's been sexually abused, that's got a aversion to sex, and are there things you can do to help them get over that, if one could get over that?
Yes, one can. So when you've been through a sexual trauma, I'm going to use myself as an example. You have this thing that there's something wrong with me, and I've done something wrong. You have to obviously go for the correct counseling and therapy to understand that we need to get you out of the victim mode, and that you are a survivor, and whoever had done this to you was an actual fact a predator. And as I said, I take myself as an example. I absolutely enjoy sexual intercourse. I enjoy fun. I enjoy the foreplay. I enjoy certain aspects of an open relationship or a swingers environment, so to speak. And I encourage people to take their power back, and you can't force that on them. However, there's definitely an avenue where people can overcome abuse and enjoy healthy sex, and they must understand what their boundaries are, as well as understand that the trauma that someone had placed on them is not their fault. And in certain aspects, some of the trauma that they may have gone through might in a later stage come through as triggers within their sexual relationships. And one must just be mindful of how you deal with that. And as long as you communicate with your partner as to what's acceptable for you and what's not, you can most certainly have a really healthy and happy sex life.
You've raised a very important point there, this whole aspect of defining boundaries, and what's acceptable to one partner may not be acceptable to another, and those boundaries need to be respected.
Absolutely.
I would suggest, and it's just a suggestion, I don't know, I've got no statistical proof to back it up, but I would suggest that most male fantasies would probably involve two women in it. And
I knew you were going to say that. It's always like that. Men have this fantasy about that. Continue. I'd like to hear.
Okay. Right. No. How would you, if you are in an open relationship, how do you go about discussing the option of that option with your partner?
Right. I think, first of all, it is one of those things where Don't candy coat it. Get straight to the point. Speak to your partner and say, listen, do you have any fantasies, any kinks, anything that you'd like to experiment with or explore or experience? Okay. Then the dialogue obviously starts. In this case, let's say you would like a threesome. So in that case, you raise this with your partner and you say, I'd love to have a threesome. How do you feel about that? You will instantly know whether or not they're into it or not, because they're going to tell you. But let's just say for the latter that they are. Then the right thing to do is for your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, they have to, from an open relationship aspect and from, let's call it the swingers lifestyle. Doesn't mean that you're going into a swingers lifestyle. I'm just making that clear. I'm talking about you just experimenting, right? However, you have to give her the platform where she's the one that determines who it is that you bring in as a third party. I always say, and I used to in the past arrange, let's call it these random hookups for people, where my clients do not have the phone numbers of the third party, or let's call it the playmate. Therefore, everyone is safe and you don't exchange phone numbers. But the wife, the female partner, is always the one that makes the decisions. And it's one thing that we can all say, yes, we're going into this, we're going to do it. But I'm saying when you actually get to that do or die moment, if anyone feels uncomfortable and this does not work for them, you immediately stop everything right there and then, because no one wants to be placed in a position where they have to go through with an act because they're doing it for their partner, but it makes them uncomfortable, because then you're just putting yourself in a position where you will feel violated at some stage. You might not say it right there and then, but there will be a trigger later on where you go, you know what, I did that for you. It's not what I wanted.
So communication is very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that, because I've known you for a long time and I know about you, you've been a lot more sexually active than I have, than most people have. So,
talking about that, let's ask a little question quickly. So if your sexual health is obviously important. So if you're a single person, how do you work and do things to keep your health sexy?
Yeah, your
I
sexual
mean, is
health
it
sexy.
important? Yeah.
So, listen, I can say a lot of things right now that's not going to sound right, okay? If you are someone that's into just random hookups, I'm going to say Tinder is probably the best place, because that's like a meat market. You know, it's what it is, right? Or else, I personally think that if you use toys, have fun, find yourself other single like-minded people, and make it clear. Communication again. If I say, let's say you and I tomorrow, I go, Vicky, listen, I'm in this thing, but it's only a hookup. Don't phone me. We're not going to do lunch. There's not going to be a morning breakfast. It's just a hookup. It's boundaries. You have to be clear about that. And then obviously safe sex. You know what? That's one of the most important things. If you don't have safe sex, be sure to catch something, because it doesn't mean because you've got a pretty face that you might not be carrying a disease. You know, there's also PrEP that people can use. It's a treatment, but it's an ongoing treatment for people that are very sexually active, that does not want to use protection. And that helps. But again, it's something that's continuous. You have to keep using it, or else it's like a broken condom. If you're going to use it, something's going to go wrong.
We're going to have to wrap it up, Caroline. Firstly, before I wrap up, is there anything from your side that you want to still?
I'm going shopping.
You're going shopping.
Call me.
Hurry up, I have to go shop.
Finally, Caroline, as a wrap up to this conversation, it has been fascinating, and I think we should engage a bit more. Well, no, let's try and rephrase this. I was going to say we should engage with Caroline a bit more often, but I think that comes across the wrong way. Caroline, if anybody is wanting help, where can they go? If they're wanting to find out more, if they're feeling that they need information, where would you direct them?
Sure, I've got a website. It's www.carolinewebb, like my name and surname, .co.za, or they can use my mobile. It's 082-519-0646. And I just say to people, leave a message. You know, if I don't answer, I'll definitely get back to everybody, or email info@carolinewebb.co.za. And I encourage people, there's no such thing as a stupid question, and there's no such thing as, you know, when people say, what's your dirty little secret? To me, there's no dirty little secrets. It's about what you like, what you enjoy, and you've got one life. Enjoy it as much as you can. That's what I say. That's my motto to it. And if anyone else frowns upon it, that's their business. It's not yours, because they're not involved in your sex life.
Caroline Webb, thank you very much for joining us. Caroline is
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Caroline is a sex and intimacy coach. It is.
I'm just sure blushing.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Okay, we'll let you go shopping now.
Oh, thank you.
We can see you're out of your scrubs.
on my way.
You're out of your scrubs and
know.
I'm
ready.
You've come in your shopping clothes. So if you are in a shopping mall, you see Dr. Vicky today and you're a male, don't interrupt her, okay? And say, oh, I saw something about sex. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us again.
Yeah, nice
we'll
to
catch
be
you
here.
through next week. And thank you for joining us. Hopefully you found that interesting. And that website address, once again, www.carolinewebb.co.za. Mansfield Today will be back tomorrow with The Travel Show. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.